Today is Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. The time is 7 o'clock p.m. I'd like to call the Finance Personnel Committee meeting to order. Myself, Mike Cappers, present by Zoom.
Chris Duback in the Village Hall.
Donnie Kern by Zoom.
All right. Any public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, if we can review the minutes from November 13th, 2024.
I've had a chance to review the minutes. They seem to be in order. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll
Chris,
second
have
that.
you, okay, you second. Any further discussion? All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Christina, can you give us your library report, please?
Yeah, sure. December was a little bit quieter for us, but we used that time to get some CPR training for library staff. So we've made a good partnership with the American Heart Association, who is giving us grant money to do like a blood pressure monitor that people can check out, do some training for us, and then fund some of our AED updates because that stuff gets pretty expensive. So that's good. And then now we're back into January and things are picking up again. So we've got some programs that are in your report that Andrea included in the packet. And then one fun thing that I like to look at is the materials that were checked out the most. And it was a book that was checked out the most 47 times in 2024. And Kristen Hanna is the author, and she wrote The Women, and it's a story about women in the Vietnam War era. So that's kind of cool that just to think about like 47 people checking out that book and getting a lot of use. Perfect what the library's supposed to do. And then so we also have one thing that didn't make this because it just got set up, but we're doing a book signing with Somerset graduate Tanya Brown. She's going to be at the library January 18th. So she has a new book out. So too.
Tanya Brown?
Tanya Brown, yep.
Tanya Brown, okay.
I think she is a Sutherland, or related to some Sutherlands.
What year did she graduate? Do you know?
I don't know the year. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mike.
Yeah.
She was Perry Sutherland and Bob Sutherland. That's her. Those were her brothers.
Oh, okay. So she's older. Okay, gotcha.
50s. Yeah.
Okay.
Real young.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else to add, Christina?
No. Thanks, guys, for being here and giving me the opportunity to let you know what we're up to.
Awesome.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys.
Impact fee report.
So we ended 2024 with 30 total. Capstone came in with 10 between the November meeting and the end of the year. So
Okay.
Quick question on that report, if you can, Andrea. It's got some percentages below. Can you elaborate as to what that is? Because then it's got 2024 interest.
yep. So that's how the interest is allocated.
So with the 40, let's say for under the water system, it's got 28%. So that would be, is that the interest of what was paid in for total impact fees would be 28%, 46% to streets, etc. Or
Yeah. Yep. And that's bank interest on the account.
Oh, okay. So that's just bank interest. So
Mhm. It's not in there yet, Donnie. It'll be in there with the audit.
got it. So the interest and the percentage that's below those total numbers is the interest that was paid in for the total of the 73,000, that's how that relates, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Cause 9,000 going into 73 can't be 46%.
Yep, it's over the whole time that we've had impact fees, and previously the transportation or streets was a higher amount, so that's, they may change now that our fee amount has changed as well, so.
Okay,
But that will be calculated with the audit.
okay, that's a little confusing, that's why I had to ask.
Okay.
I
Yep.
didn't quite understand where the, where,
I can
where
hide
the-
it if you want me to.
yeah, if it's not really relevant to our
No,
discussions here, is it? Okay.
no.
But it does make a big difference, having these changes on the impact fees in his last, 6, homes though.
Yep.
Definitely
Yep.
reflects what should be really happening with the, where the totals need to be. Now, is that going to affect anything with like the library or anything like that? Or is it the money that was paid in 2024, that's just gonna still be in the library for their use from the previous impact fees? Or
Yep.
impact report? Okay.
Yep.
And last year, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we have 45?
42.
Was it the year before we had 40? For some reason, 45 was running in my brain.
Could be the year before.
Okay, all right. So we're down 25%.
Department head meeting report. Did you guys meet, Andrea?
We did not.
Okay. When are you guys scheduled to meet?
I don't believe we have anything set up. Normally it's the first Wednesday of the month, which would have been January 1st. I can reach out to everybody and see if they wanna meet.
Yeah, just maybe.
When was the last one?
November.
$2024 budget to date and fund balances.
Couple questions on that.
Fire away.
Okay, first one. Public Works workers' compensation was over double of what budget was.
So do you remember it would have been November, I mentioned that, there was a billing error in 2023. And so I had to pay the 4th installment for 2023's insurance premiums in 2024. So
Okay.
they're over.
That's what's reflective there.
Yep, and all of the insurance line items should be over, not just Public Works, but the admin, police.
Yeah, I
Public
was gonna note that workers' compensation up on the general government is even up 25% over last year. So that's due to that billing error, huh?
Yep,
And is that reflective now into this year's budget, or do we need to amend that?
this year's budget should be fine. It should be correct. And all of the installments for 2024 were paid in 2024.
But, and they were normally paid based on, in my experience with workers' compensation, is based on your wages paid, right?
Yep.
And so if wages have been down a little bit of what our budget was, like I've seen in like the water and sewers, in other areas, that would be lower then too, correct?
Correct.
So we might be receiving a rebate a little bit?
Yeah, maybe.
The other question I had was, the transfer from the water utility of 118,257. Is
Mhm.
that didn't happen? That was in our budget to do, is that
That's
supposed
from
to,
the audit.
that's after the audit?
Mhm. Yep, that will be calculated when the auditor is here, and then I get an entry to put that money in there. Or do that transfer.
And then will that be sent out to us then?
Yep.
So we know what their final numbers are on that?
Yep, yeah,
'Cause
this
it
is
does-
by no means the final budget, numbers at
Sure.
all.
The couple cleanup items, if you may.
Mhm.
Fire department, I'm gonna start from the bottom, working my way up. Workers' comp insurance dividend, that's, the 948,910.
Oh, yep,
Is that needed?
that would be if, like you just talked about, if we got a rebate from workers' comp, that's where that money would go. So it's definitely, I can remove it. I can,
Oh, we can
actually,
leave, we can
I
leave
could
it in there. I just,
when I print this report, I can select to say, do not include zero numbers or zero budget numbers. If you want me to do that, that would.
yeah,
condense
cause
this.
like the donations to police department is on there, and I was just, I thought you got donations, and then you got donations to police department. And I didn't think that we could, separate the two. I thought donations come in were just donations, or does the police department have their own separate account for that?
They do get their own separate donations, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
they can be earmarked for whichever department.
But I can just, if you, to kind of save time going through all the zeros,
Yep.
if you would like, I can just print it with the zeros removed.
yeah, no, that, I was just asking because I seen somebody's up here and I'm like, do we have map sales? Do we have library late fees? I mean, that, if we do, great, but,
We used to
yeah.
have less fees. They
But
don't anymore.
that's allocated in a different revenue stream up above.
Well, no, that's fees and or collections and something else. But there used to be actual late fees that would go into that account. Oh,
Okay.
there's two.
That's what I was saying.
All right, I'll just exclude zero.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is not the final, on the numbers, for 2024, because I was just
Correct.
looking at, it. We're already kind of over, but I think if we allocate the money on the, where it's supposed to be, I think we'll be all right.
Mhm.
Any other questions, Donnie?
Not for me. I don't know if you guys do, but
Chris?
He caught the ones I had.
New business discussion possible recommendation 2025 budgets, water utility and sewer utility.
here again, I have some significant questions on, some of these, and I don't know if you're able to answer them, Andrea, or not, but, did Bob kind of put these together, right?
Yep.
Okay, so can we start with one, and maybe you might be able to answer this, for him, under the water utility budget,
Mhm.
you have interest income. And then below it, you got special assessment interest income. Is there such a thing?
There used to be.
They're numbered the same too.
No,
No, they're
one's
not.
48,
Sorry.
one's PO, and one's 48,110.
Right,
There used to be special assessments and maybe someday there will be again.
okay,
So-
then that's fine. And reimbursement of interest expense,
mhm,
nothing has been there for the last couple of years.
yeah.
Capital contribution impact fees? Would that
So
be?
that would be if we had a project where we were funding, with impact fees,
Sure,
then that's where the
Would-
money would come in.
and I completely get it for the water, portion of it, but, for sewer, shouldn't be there because we can't collect impact fees for sewer, correct?
Right, we used to, yeah, but yes,
So I was just wondering if them two could be removed from the sewer utility budget. Because we're not able to do anything with them. And also, purchased water for the wells.
yep, we can remove that.
And we have two property tax and social security taxes, 686 and 408. 408 has numbers by it, 686 doesn't.
Okay. Oh. Um. that one. Okay,
The uncollectible accounts and sales expense, I could just note that these are all zeros on here. And the maintenance of general plant, I think that the maintenance of general plant, isn't that in outlay? Or do we have a general plant maintenance? Cause,
I'll talk with Bob about that one.
right. And, social security tax. As we're going down the bottom here in, I think in the water budget, social security tax, it stayed. If you'll look at, you got, so property tax and social security tax was 145. And then, and in 2023, actual was 119. And then we got 150 and only 14,000 in 2024. But then in 2025, we're only showing 15,000 for,
I think that's the typo.
pardon?
I think it's a typo.
Okay, so it was, should have been budgeted at 15 and stayed at 15 then?
Um.
That'd be one I'd want you to bounce back to Bob too on.
Yep, okay,
Because that was, these were I believe these were the ones that were presented to the entire board that we had talked about last month, and now we're looking at them again, so.
yep,
That being said, we'll go back to, I'm gonna jump over to sewer now. Sewer is pretty simple. It's I just say them 221 and 421 on the impact fees and short-term notes of interest.
mhm,
We did have a debt interest expense of 105,000 on sewer, but nothing was paid out. Again, is that something that we have to wait for the audit to?
yep. So with any of the debt, payments, they all go through that debt fund that, you guys review the
Yep.
budget for, and then at the end of the year, everything gets allocated to the different, funding sources, which one of them would be sewer, one would be water, so.
So is that backdated then to that year then?
Yep. Yep,
And then would those reports be sent back out to the board?
yep,
I don't remember that, but
It's
Okay,
all part of the audit. It would be in the audit. I can send you final budget numbers once the audit's all completed, which
but that's in April, right?
June or July.
Yeah, okay. So in the budget, and this is something that I was hoping Bob might be, but in the budget, we have a 2% increase that we put forth every year, and it's reflected that in sewer, that there's a 2% increase in the revenue stream, but a 3% reduction in the water revenue stream. And the wages, in the revenue stream, don't really reflect that.
Say that one more time.
There was a 2% increase in the sewer
Yeah.
and a 3% reduction in revenue proposed for 2025 in water. Now, I know there's a little off flex because, separate, water budgets, with certain, meters and everything like that.
Mhm.
But all in all, you still have to pump the water, and with the power for pumping, it only went up less than 3%. And I know our power is going up crazy. I just wonder if that's gonna be enough.
Mhm.
Same thing with the water utility.
Okay.
And Social Security stayed flat. And we had increases, of wages for both from 2024 to 2025. There should be some kind of an increase in Social Security in both of those, accounts.
So if I
That,
take,
those are my questions.
yep.
So,
So, it would have been helpful to have those questions ahead of time so that I could have those answers for you tonight instead of now we have to wait for me to research and,
a lot of these
talk about-
questions were brought up.
the only one I heard was the Social Security. So at the last meeting. So if you take the salaries for,
I think that was brought up
61,000
also.
What?
I think the salaries was also brought up at the last meeting.
I
So
don't have an
salaries,
answer for you
Social
on that
Security.
one.
Pardon?
So if you take the wages, operator wages of $147,500. And you take the admin and general salaries of 61,000 and multiply that by 0.0765, which is Social Security, it's $15,950. So the budget number is fine. It was over
50.
budgeted for 2024.
And we're in the sewer budget or we're in the water budget?
We're in the sewer budget.
Okay,
And then, the admin and general salaries there was not enough money budgeted in 2024. As you can see from the third column from the right. The actual 12/31/2024. I updated those numbers. Right now, it's at $56,122. There was only.
where are you at right now? I'm trying to find you.
The admin and general salaries, it's 620,0053614.
In sewer or water?
Yep. Cause those were
Okay.
the ones you were questioning at the board meeting. The
In regards to the, yeah,
$56,000. There was only budgeted 54,000, so that budget number is wrong. So it's not that we're trying to give ourselves a 13% raise in the sewer department. It's, this number was not correct.
so what is the correct number?
What?
So what is the correct number?
Well, it's actually going to be more than $56,000 because the payroll that I just processed includes 2024 wages through December 31st. So
Right, but in
that-
2023, you went from 75,000, we dropped down to 54,000.
Mhm.
Okay, so when we went from 54,000 to 56,000, and then we went from 56,000 to 61,000. So I'm just saying, if you're at 54 to 56, but you were under on 54,000, I could completely understand where you're at. But if I took 56,000 and multiplied that by 4%, it's not 61,000.
Because 54,000 is the wrong number for the budget.
But 56,000 was the actual number.
That is not the actual ending number, as I just said. The payroll that I just processed for January 10th
Okay,
includes the wages through December 31st. I have to allocate those back to 2024, which has not happened yet because I just finished payroll today.
okay, so then we'll have to wait till that gets there, because the numbers that we have are not correct. Because
Correct.
then we would have went from 54,000 to 58,000, or, thereabouts, if that, I don't know what that number is, from going from 2023 to 2024.
And actually it went down from 2023 to 2024.
The budget number went down, but the actual number went up.
$2,000, not even.
Well, you're saying that 56,000 is not the correct number.
Right.
So it's actually gonna be more than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have to wait to see what that number is, but it's gonna be more than 2,000, which is what we have in front of us today.
So, which number are you questioning? The 54,000 in 2024 or the 61,000 in 2025?
The budget number going from 54,000 to 61,000, the question was raised as why we had a $7,000 increase. And now
Yeah.
you're telling me, from what I heard, was the $61,000 was a proper reflection because the 56,000 that was in 2023 for the actual was not a proper reflection of the 54,000 budgeted, because we were
Yeah.
under budget.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when we went from 54,000 to 58,000, and I'm looking at, okay, well, I'm trying to look at what that number is, because I understand what you're saying. If that number is not correct, then we'll get the correct numbers in front of us, and then we can have a conversation.
okay.
Do you think you might have them next week before the meeting?
There's no meeting next week.
Next week, I'm saying, will you have the numbers next week so that we can have the conversation before the meeting the following week?
I can try. I can try.
Okay,
I will let you know if I have them. How about that? So do you want this on the board agenda again for the 21st?
well, until we
If I
have,
those numbers?
we can't say that until we get the numbers. So we'll have to just wait and see if they come out there or not. The amended, I would say we table this. I would recommend that we table this until the numbers are trued up and correct, and then we can look at them and have a discussion and make a recommendation for an amended budget to the board when one's ready. I'll make that in a form of a motion.
There's a second?
So just so I'm understanding correctly, you basically want to table this and re-examine it before the full board?
No, what I'm saying is we're gonna have to table this till we get the numbers correct and then make a recommendation to the board. Once the numbers are correct.
Yes, I will second that.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Any future agenda items?
Department head reviews. We usually talk about this. Is that something that we want to talk about this month or next month?
Yeah, how did we schedule that last year? Do you remember, Andrea?
I do not.
It's usually something we looked at in the first couple months of the year to get it out of the way. But it was
Yeah.
usually done before April. It was, I think, March we did it.
Yeah, I guess maybe before our next meeting, let's come up with a timeline.
So maybe we put a future agenda on there for established timelines.
Yes, please. Anything else?
Andrea, if you get everything together or whatever, just send it over to me and I could schedule time to come down and meet with you to go over it. If we have any questions, we can get them resolved while we're all together.
Somebody want to make the final motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I was gonna see if you were gonna second it, but apparently you're not. I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, the meeting is adjourned at 7:32.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, guys.
Buenas tardes from Colombia.
Enjoy.